Yeah. Plug that in. Yeah. Birds in there going crazy. Oh, that's not gonna work. There. What up? 616. Oh shit, Shea live. Right now getting the transfers set, shaped nicely and even. I gotta step over here for a second and throw it on the saw and see where they are. A little lower than that. They're a little lower than that. Right there. A tiny bit lower than that. Angled there. flat there. They're definitely there. And they're definitely right there. So those two are perfect. Just one of the secondaries might be a tad lower. Yeah, both of them are actually a tad lower in the same spot, right where they angle down. So that's actually pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Alright, so I have somewhere here, somewhere. Whoa, unless I lost it. This little thing. I have this little piece of solder that I pulled from when I was doing the squish measurement. So I'll drop this on the squish band and drop my piston in so I know where my intake fully opens to. I've been really unhappy with the way that my 261 builds have been going so far. And after working on so many 201s and having such a big learning curve with those, and also kind of learning from the 200T, I think I'm ready to give this another crack. I mean, I've been waiting on a carburetor. That's what really slowed me down, and now I have it. But yeah, the 261 cylinder versus the 201 cylinder, it's only a little bit bigger. Only a little bit bigger. And it's not far off as far as what I would want to do to it. Can I port a Ryobi? I don't know. I took apart my my stepdad. Not my stepdad. My father-in-law had a Craftsman chainsaw, gas powered, that wasn't running. And he asked, you know, if I could take a look at it, and it was his air filtration system. There was lots of crud going down in this chute that went right to the carburetor and was dirtying up his cylinder. But, you know, being me, I completely dismantled his chainsaw and made some adjustments to it and put her back together. And made some adjustments to the muffler system and got it cranking for him. Alright, so now I gotta switch over to a different Dremel. What is this? I'll call it the Ryobi. Gonna be a good bit. I don't know if this guy is gonna work. Yeah, that's doable. My egg-shaped bit is getting worn out. I ordered some new stuff, even though money's tight. Like, this is what's making me money right now, so I ordered what I needed. This cylinder, this is all for me, but once I get it dialed in, there are 2 people I know waiting that would like me to do theirs. So yeah, this is where it's at right now for me. I got lights, and still somehow not a lot of light. What's up, Bad? Acting like I'm working. Have a safe day. Talk to you later, Bad. Got a little bit of time to work on this, and then my daughter and I are heading to the doctor because last night I gotta make sure that little piece of squish is still in there. Yes, it is. Last night she was running a bad fever, and she's doing better this morning, but she's staying home from school, and we'll go get her checked out by the doctor. Alright, so where the intake is. I'm just trying to get it to where when where the intake goes down to, or where the piston goes down to, that the intake is going to be open for that duration. And I've dropped this cylinder, machined it, so I'm going to epoxy the side of it to where it doesn't open so early. Okay. Still have a little ways to go. I'm going to keep that. It's not the piston, it's a piston. The piston on the saw is on the saw, and I have another 261 with a piston on it. I seem to have like 2 extra pistons somehow, so yeah, I'm gonna leave this one in here. I got this one here, and it's with a foot pedal. And then I've got this one here, and you turn it on up there, and going back and forth so much, like I go to press the foot pedal for this one. Oh my god, it's the sheriff. About to pack up and go dismantle a maple on a house. How is everyone? I don't know if there is everyone. You might be the only one in here and you might be gone now. I don't know. Trying to make a 261 tick. After doing all those 201s, I've got a better understanding of what I want to do to make this thing run smoother. Everything they're telling me about, like, sweet. Everything they're telling me about the guys that make the steel chainsaws and design them are way smarter than us. Is definitely something to adhere by. Like, you know, if I'm dropping this, there's this one weird thing, and I believe it has to do with the crankshaft and the geometry of this thing going up and down. When I change the cylinder height, the numbers at the top change by, let's say, 5 degrees there, but then further down inside, you know, like where the intake is, it only changes by like a couple degrees. And, you know, I moved it, and it changes more up here than it does down there. And the transfers and reading these things and understanding them and the geometry behind it, like, so if I'm changing that and I change that one up there back to factory, if I change that one by that many degrees down there back to the factory, you know, the way it was before I machined it, is it even the same? Do I need to be doing math and finding percentages of what I dropped it versus what I'm changing it? Like, there's so much to understand with this and learn, and I'm just starting to grasp it. I believe it has to do with the crankshaft. Like, I'm gonna have to do my own cutaway and cut a cylinder in half and have the timing wheel on it and measure things going up and down as that thing goes around to see how many degrees things are changing at different parts of the cylinder. What's up, Squirrely? Because it's been a couple of saws now where I'll time it and then I'll do some machine work and then I'll time it again and watch, you know, like this number only go a couple of degrees different, but the number up on the exhaust go like quite a few degrees different. I'm like, why am I measuring these things wrong? Or is there something else to it? And how much math is behind it if I want to be on point with what I'm trying to accomplish? You know, try to take the some of the guessing out of it and try to understand what I'm doing and what changes I'm making. Gotta go a little bit more right there. Right now I'm just trying to get the air chutes with the piston and everything lined up to where there's no ridges and no bumps, and that everything goes through as they designed it. Oh yeah, Mike. I have one of these guys. The Still MS 151. It's got the clip on. And anyway, there was one of these I did for a buddy, and this is before I had the lathe, and I just changed the timing on this exhaust like ever so slightly and gave him a couple of ports on the muffler, and it was a ripper. Like, whatever I did, it was freaking awesome. Like, I saw him put it through like this stump cut on a fruit tree, and it just like floated through. It was awesome to watch. And then I went, and I had this other one to work on, and I don't know, maybe just a tad too far. Whatever I did with this one, it fell flat on its face. But now that I have a lathe, and I know I didn't go too far, I'm sure I can fix this one up. So this will be an upcoming project here during the slow season. Like, I'm sure of it that I can make that thing cool. Oh no, what happened to my little piece of squish? My wife is messaging me something, and it might have to do. Are we still there? That saw is too air restricted factory. Oh, the 151. All right, 1 second. And we're back. Okay. Definitely prefer the 2511. I was like, is Stillborn saying that? No, that's Dan the Tree Man. Yeah, me too. I prefer the 2511s, but I have that thing sitting in my garage, so I'm gonna make it tick. Dude, my squish. Where did it go? Did I blow it and it's gone? And I have more squish laying around, but it has to be the right squish. Has to be the right squish. Okay. I be talking about squish a lot, like around the house, and nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. All right, squish. Okay. Oh, there it is. There it is. It was hiding in there, I guess. What up, Bucky Sauce? Bucky Sauce. I'm trying. I got the 261 cylinder. Cool. My money got sent without me having to message her that I sent it. She got it. Never used 151. Mine is a 150. Oh, yeah? Yeah, I've never seen the 150, just the 151 that I've worked on that one time. Is squish the amount of compression the fuel is under at top dead center? Yeah, it's the amount of space. It's the amount of space between the top of the piston and the combustion chamber, which not very lit up right now, but yeah, like right now this thing's set at like 18 thousandths of an inch for a 261. I probably want to open that up a little bit, probably bring it to 20, but for right now that's okay. But I've machined it pretty far. Anywho, all right, so I got the transfers better looking. My theory right now is I dropped the cylinder, so as I noticed with the 201s, when I dropped the cylinder, just by taking out the squish gasket, or not the squish gasket, there goes squish, take out the gasket, the real VTS, yeah, at least you're like really busy. I haven't worked in a couple of weeks, just my own job. And building these chainsaws is the only thing keeping me afloat this month. There's like just enough money. Oh, with the 201s were the, what do you call it, the strato ports. Once you delete the base gasket and put it together and you see the piston ride up to where it's now at versus having the base gasket in there, where the strato parts are, and the piston comes up to when it's open all the way, or one of the ways all the way, there's like a ledge because you've changed where the cylinder is sitting. So I added some epoxy and brought that to the right heights to where when those open, they're, straight shot and flat and everything. And that was my new take on the 201. I built it for a buddy, and he let me make the first cut with it because he was wearing some like nice shoes or something like that, and I don't know. I was happy with it. It was pretty cool. It had no problem going through some dried out live oak. YouTube can be dangerous. Dude, I have had a tiny piece of metal hit me in the eye. Like I heard the dent. I just felt like this little dent. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought something just, like hit me around the eye, bounced off the eye, like hit my eyeball maybe. And it was bothering me for days. And then I had my wife look at it, and there's like this little speck on my eyeball, and it wouldn't come off. She, went in there with like the Q-tip, and it wasn't coming off, so we went in the better lighting, and with her like Galaxy 5 camera zoom in, and she got a picture of the side of my eyeball, and the thing was like just inside the gelatin of the eyeball, before the eyeball, and I had to go to the hospital and then to an eye specialist, where they used a Dremel to get the little tiny piece of metal out that I inflicted by using a Dremel. The irony behind that one. I've got like these ones, like they don't let shit in, but they're dirty and they've gotten some stuff on them that kind of like ruins how you see. And I forget who they're made by, but they're really nice. You could be like sipping some hot coffee and they don't fog up. And yeah, they're nice. They work. I should probably get a new pair, but these have been working, as long as I got something on. So I'm about done with this thing. And it's 10:26. I gotta hit these transfers real quick. I mean the side walls of the intake I was just playing with. And then I gotta hit the road. Yeah, that's it for now. I gotta go. I gotta get my little girl out of here. So, yeah. See you guys later. I'll come back on some other time when I get this better put together. You too, Mike.